review the last lecture?
Yes, yes, I already reviewed.
So how you find it?
Development of project charter and all, right?
So
Yeah,
okay, did you answer the question? All of them?
yeah, I answered.
Which one did you find the easy one, and which one was the difficult?
I think all easy.
Uh,
All easy.
all very,
All
but
easy.
it depends. It depends from person to person how he answers. Depends from
Yeah.
person to person.
All easy, Sachin. Sachin,
Yes.
if you are saying all easy, that mean you are understanding all of our lectures, and that mean you are more clever than before.
Oh, yes. Possibly.
And with this, I will add one thing: you are little bit overconfidence
Okay, that's also correct.
because because I'm going to check your answers as well.
Possibly, but okay.
Okay, let me see what are the answers. First question: the project manager has just received a change from the customer. The project manager realized that if approved, this change will increase the project cost by 30,000. What is the project manager should do next? What did you answer? D.
D.
C. How the change affects the other. And what about J? D as well. So both of them J. Okay, okay, it's okay. I agree with you. Both of you, I agree. Which conflict resolution technique is most likely to result in permanent solution? Smoothing, confirmation, problem solving, compromise, withdrawal. Sachin, B. And J also B. Okay. The purpose of project charter is to recognize, acknowledge the project sponsor, recognize the existence of project, and commit to our organizational resources to the project. To subscribe, to describe the selection method used to choose the project, to acknowledge the existence of the project team, project manager, and project sponsor. What did you answer, Sachin? B.
B. B.
And J also B. Who will defend this question? This who will defend the answer? The
Last
third
one.
one, last one.
It's a bit theoretical answer. Based
No,
on lecture only we
even though,
answer.
give me your opinion. No issue. Open opinion, so that I can understand your approach to understand the question.
Yeah, yeah. Can you again repeat the question?
Because the
Do
project
you have
charter.
WhatsApp in your mobile? Can you check it? It's easy.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
check. But
Check
okay, the purpose of the
on your.
project charter.
Hmm.
The project charter is the one first document that recognize that the existence of the project, and
Uh,
also you can use the organizational resource of the project. One document with writing documents only we can say this is the project charter. That's why I
Oh,
just
so that's mean when you are creating a project charter, same thing,
that means I can use
same time you are agree to use the resources.
not the same time, but okay, the resource provider like the organizer also give me the resource to use it for the particular project, like a funding and all
So
that things. They agree with
that's
that.
that's mean you are agreeing on the project charter that you are going to use the resource this resource for the project. So
Yes, correct.
uh, after the project maybe the project may be abort or the sponsor is not available. What you will do after the charter?
After the charter,
Mm.
Sponsor is not available, then again we'll have to revise
no, not revise.
the process, revise the methodology. Again, we'll
No
have to review.
methodology. You mean you are you did not make better feasibility report?
That also possible. Means need to check the better feasibility report or all that.
So is there answer to check the better feasibility report, or is there any option?
Oh no, if there are some obstacles from the sponsors end, then we need to recheck all that again, feasibility and all that.
So here in the question, it's written the purpose of project charter is. So you have only four option here. What is the best
Okay.
case? What is the best scenario? What you will choose there out of the four options? I'm giving you
Already
one
answered.
hint that B is the wrong answer because I'm not agree with you. Well, you are telling that recognize the existence of project. I'm agree with you. Okay, but
Okay,
one
this
point:
is a charter
submit the
document,
organization
not
resource
purpose.
of the project. Resource you don't have until now. You did not make any resource plan until you don't know even the schedule. Until you don't know how much cost is there. How you can commit the resource on the project charter? Still, you need to make plans. Still, you need to identify the stakeholders. Still, you need to plan the schedule. You need to make a budget. Then you will acquire a resource. Then you will commit that there is a resource. In the charter, you cannot only predefine teams. Then you can just display them on project charter only. That's our pre-team. Team is here, and we will handle the project. Only team you can show in the project charter. Otherwise, you cannot show anything in the project charter. It's a high level only description of the projects.
Okay.
So next
It's
chance you
C.
have a C, and D. Yes, Sachin.
It's C. Describe the selection of methods used to choose a project. Or A and C have this confused. A
That's why
also
I told you you are a
yes, yes.
you are a genius little bit. Better than before. Better than you are now clever. Better than before, but not enough. So did you listen the last lecture
Yes.
and you review these slides as well?
Slide review is pending for the yesterday.
Yeah,
Hmm.
based on after reviewing slides only we answered B.
That's why you answered B.
Yeah,
And
after
what
B
reviewing
about
the
our
is
slides
last
only
lecture
we
B is a
answered.
discussion?
B
That's
is a
that's me.
project
Yeah,
charter document.
You are getting
but we
two
answered
time
as a
lectures.
result
You
of
know,
those slides.
one time I'm giving live lecture, and second time you are listening my lecture as well. And third thing is you are reviewing the slides as well. So three references you have for answer the question, and you are saying that as per our slides and as per review the lecture, it cannot be possible that you are answering the B question, B answer. No, it's not possible because as per our before yesterday lectures, I explain it very well. What are the things in the project charter? Okay, let me show you the slides one more time.
It's C from my side.
It's a
Possibly.
C, huh?
Yes.
Let me show the.
Okay. Check it. Right.
See the slide right now in the display, and then estimate. Just try to guess it. Hmm. Sachin.
Acknowledge the existence of project team, project manager, and project sponsor.
Now, what you will give me the answer?
It's D.
J.
Same.
Same. Where you are getting D right now? We discussed. Did we discuss this one before yesterday?
Yes, discussed.
Yeah, we discussed this one
And
also. Yes,
that's when
but
you forget.
actually, the reason is that because from my point means from my side, I didn't review this slide,
Ah,
this
you did
particular
not
slide.
read this particular slide.
Yeah, I didn't review this. Means roughly, I just roughly reviewed, but I didn't review it in detail. That's why.
Okay, but here we confused in the project charter definition and this project charter purpose.
No, actually, what I told you in the last lecture, project charter actually is describing only high level things. And you cannot commit in the project charter that you are providing a resources. Resource is in a planning section. Planning section, still we are in initiating section. And from the initiating section, we just completed our feasibility report and selection methods as well. And now we just finish our
Before
project
initiating,
charter. Yes.
feasibility before initiating, na?
Yes, feasibility before initiating. That's mean feasibility before project charter. You have to make
Before
feasibilities. The business case and benefit management plan feasibility is before the charter.
Because we answered the develop project charter is the process of, like we just say,
Hmm.
developing documents that formally authorize the existence of project, provide the project manager with authority to apply organization resource to project
Hmm.
activities. That we
Yes.
just guessed and answered
Yeah,
for
because
that.
here the answer four option answer, that's mean you have project manager, sponsor, and everything in it. So you have to choose that one, which is the most relevant answer.
Okay, as a purpose, okay, this as a
No,
process, we can say okay, this.
no, is the purpose also to give the authority to the project manager by the sponsor, by the sponsor. This is the purpose of project charter, because it's a legal binding between. This is not with the another organization. This is your in internal organization with the internal. But you will show the project charter to your client as well. But it's not from the client side. It's a binding between. It's a legal binding between the project manager and the organization with sponsor. Only sponsor. The project chart. The sponsor is responsible for the project charter only. All right.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Now the next process, which we are going to discuss today, that is stakeholder. Stakeholder. Sachin, close your mic, please. Okay. No, it was high noise actually from your side. I think from fan or something. Anyways, uh, next process is identify stakeholders. There's a next step after the project charter. There is a identify stakeholder. So in this process, we will identify all the stakeholders. We discussed in the charter side that we will identify only key stakeholder in the project project charter stage only. Here we mention here stakeholder requirement high level and high level of project charter. I mean stakeholders only. High level. I mean key stakeholders, major stakeholder we identify here in the charter. But after that, we will identify all the stakeholders, involving all the team members in engaging activity, reviewing the stakeholder community regularly with the review of individual project risk, consulting with the stakeholder who are most affected by the work or outcome of the project through the concept of co-creation, capturing the value of effective stakeholder engagement, both positive and negative. So in this process or in this in stakeholder management, what we will do, this is the trend. We need to identify all of the stakeholders, and we will involve all team members to engage them, to to engage them in their activities, in the project activities, reviewing the stakeholder community regularly, your team and yourself as well. You will review them for individual risk and individual concern as well. Consulting with the stakeholder who are most affected by the senior or most major stakeholders, you have to take care of them. You have to take care of them. After some slides you will see how we can engage them. Who are the major stakeholders, who are the minor stakeholder, who we need to take care about them. Capturing the value effective stakeholder engagement, both positive and negative. We need to also do this one also. We know the identify stakeholder process is to people, group, and organization. It can be a people, group, organization. These are also stakeholder decision. So, here written is impacted by some of the part of the stakeholder. They are affected by the project activity. Maybe your activity, by your activity they are affected by, and by your project outcome they are affected by. This is the reason also you can say them. These are the project stakeholder as well. Stakeholder, individual, group, and organization who may affect and affected by the decision, activity, or outcome of the project. We know this one. We had already discussed about that. Stakeholder register. What is the stakeholder? We will get this after this process. We will get the stakeholder register. What is the stakeholder register? Actually, it is capture the project stakeholders, identify their interest, influence, involvement, impact, and power relating to the project. Analyze where to focus the engagement to sustain their support of, or shift it to a more supportive level. That's mean if one stakeholder is in your opposition side right now on the project, you need them to make a supportive. You have to take care of that stakeholder and make a policy how we get him in a positive side, because he is against your project right now. He is opposing your project, and you need to make him as a supportive stakeholder. You have to engage him, you have to make him a positive way, and you meet him, ask his requirement, and ask his interest, what he need. You have to complete his requirement, then he will be a positive stakeholder. So these are the things what we discuss. We need for this purpose to identify the stakeholder business case, benefit management plan, as well as project charter. The key stakeholders are there in the project charter: departments, pre-approved team resources. These are also team resources, also stakeholder. We need to consider them as a stakeholder. Any department from government officials, as well as the key stakeholders which are mentioned in the stakeholder. And also agreements, because you are identify all the stakeholders, you have to see the parties of an agreement. Or the project stakeholder agreement can be contained reference to additional stakeholder. Definitely, if you have an a pre some pre agreements with your organization, with another organization, then you need to a list from them also. So you will identify which stakeholders are we have with the existing agreements. I think Sachin, he lost the connection. We'll see what he will do.
Sachin lost the connection. Again, is coming. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So next thing, very easy, which we discussed before also. If we are going to make a stakeholder register, then just the easiest way you can use expert judgment. You can hire individual, you can hire one group to just identify the stakeholder. They are expert. If you are not expert, and you don't have in your organization as well someone or some team, you can hire our consultant. You can hire a consultant to make the identify process easier, and you will get the stakeholder register as well. Here we are using only some of the techniques. That one is gathering the methods, and some tools and techniques we are using here. For first of all, brainstorming, as we discussed before. Brainstorming basically to generate a new idea. If you need to make a stakeholder register, definitely you are going to do a new thing and new register. That's why you need some new idea generation. That's mean you need to make a brainstorming session. Then you will get some ideas from your team side, as well as maybe maybe the stakeholder from out of your organization as well, they can participate in it, and they can give you also the some generation of the idea. Questionnaires and surveys, the written set of questions designed to quickly accumulate for information from large number of respondents. If you are going to address, or you need to make the opinion, good opinion from the large number of respondent, that's mean you will make some set of the questions, then quickly you will get the answer from the large number of community, large number of the candidates in the questionnaire session. And you can also make a survey and go to your project site, and also you can see which is the project site, and you can meet the guys, you can meet the client side teams, and from your side team you can ask them what are the things you need to make them, what are their requirements. You can ask everything related to that project. So this is called surveys. So questionnaires, you can make them one set of some questions, which will give you the more detail about the your stakeholder requirements. And other thing is surveys. You can go to the site directly and get the information from them. Brain writing. There is one another technique. Brain writing is sometimes called individual brain writing. Brainstorming. Individual is the method for quickly generating idea, but asking participants to write their ideas on paper. Here, brainstorming, we are discussing that they will give you the idea verbally only. Do it like this. Do it like this. But here, brain writing. That's mean individual give you the paper written paper to give you their idea, rather than announcing them in traditional group brainstorming session. So this is the little bit different. Brain writing has advantage to parallel idea generation. In traditional group brainstorming, only one idea can be presented at the one. So brainstorming is a serial process. In brainwriting, you can have the entire group writing ideas is the same thing. So this is the difference between brainwriting and brainstorming. Brainstorming is a serial process, but brainwriting, everybody can write their idea and give it to you, and you can see, and you can then evaluate them, analyze them, which idea is best. So this is called a brainwriting. Next is data analysis, stakeholder analysis, you can say also. After identify all of them, all the stakeholders, team members, project team, client side team, project manager, project sponsor, all affected are affected by the project. So these all you will identify. After that, you should analyze them. Expectation, interest, power, influence of each stakeholder are defined, should be defined. What you will do in this analyzing of the project stakeholder, who are the ones being interested in the project? Someone who is interested. You will identify first of all who are ones having knowledge about the project. Who has the knowledge on this project? You will identify them. Is any of your is any of them having ownership about the project? You will clear about these questions as well. Who are the ones having legal or moral rights on the project? Who are the ones having contribution on the project? These questions you will clear with your all stakeholders. You will then group them by their interest, by their knowledge, by their ownership, legal moral rights, and their contribution to the project. So this is, you will group them and identify them as a group. Let's say 10 stakeholders, they are very interested to the project, and maybe 10 they have only knowledge but not interested. So you will analyze them. This is called also a project, also analyzing the project also. And another thing which I will tell you after this, there's one representation and mapping as well. Project mapping and analyzing as well, same as same. Stakeholder analysis, what we will do, name of the role. This is only template for that one. Project title, prepare date, name of the role, interest, how much interest he has, influence, how much influence this stakeholder has. Let's say name and role, and then interest, his influence and attitude. What is the attitude? Either position or a supportive or a neutral. What is the attitude for that stakeholder, particular stakeholder? That's mean you will all stakeholder you will list here. Next, when you will list them, you can then analyze the documents as well. After they analyzing the documents, you will represent to the stakeholders, to the client side, and to your team as well, what we are doing. So after that, you will make a stakeholder mapping, a representation. Stakeholder mapping and representation is the method of categorizing stakeholder using various methods. Common method is including after analyzing stakeholder, we will group them. Following tool can be used. So after that, you can use the some method, which are called, let's say here, 5 methods are written here: power interest grid, stakeholder cube, silence model, direction of influence, prioritization. So we will discuss all of them one by one. First of all, we have a power interest grid. Here, we'll understand what is this power interest grid. As you can see, the power interest in vertical position we have a power, and in horizontal position we have interest. Here is low interest, high interest, and low power and high power. When you will group them in a 4 section. Who stakeholder? You will group them in a 4 section. First of all, if you are grouping them in a 4 section, first section, if you will write them 1 stakeholder, 2 stakeholder, 3 stakeholder, if the stakeholder they have low interest and low power, then you will write them in this box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many stakeholder you have? You will write them here to be monitored. Low interest and low power. If the group of the stakeholder they have more interest with low power, then you will write them in this box to be informed. First one is to be monitored, and second one to be informed. If the group of the stakeholder they have low interest and high power, then you will write in this box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many stakeholder? You will write them, and you need to satisfy them only. If the group of the stakeholder they have high power and high interest, then you will write them in this box. Manage closely. You have to manage them closely. You have to take care of them, but they need give them on right time, in right position. You have to give them right things with the right information. You have to give them. That's mean you need to manage them closely. So this is the power interest grid. Then you can map them. You can group them by this way, and you can also take care of them. How? When anybody has a low power, low interest, then you can just monitor them because it has the low power and low interest on the project. While if they have more interest but low power, you can keep them informed only. Another side, if you are getting a high power stakeholder and with low interest, then just need to satisfy him only. And if the stakeholder has high power and high interest, then you just manage closely. This is the main concept which is very important as per exam. But here one thing I will show you, but I think you need to just see the question tomorrow, and let's see how you will solve the question. No problem. The other mapping technique is, and other representation technique is stakeholder cube. Here, if we look at this cube, we have 8 position right now. Before we had only 4 position. Right now we have 8 position. Now you can group them separately by 8 position. Stakeholder cube. Here attitude, interest, and power, and then you can make a cube as well. Low interest, low attitude. You can group them in one condition here one, and second one is high interest and low power, and then you can place them here. That's mean first is Insignificant passive blocker. They are giving you some opposition on the project, on the activity, on that initiation of the project. So they are giving you opposition on this one. You can categorize them here: low interest, low attitude. While second one is high interest and low power. Insignificant active blocker, because they have less power. Attitude no matter, but high interest and low power. They are insignificant active blocker. The third one is they have little more attitude and little more interest as well. Influential passive blocker. Now they are influential because of little more attitude and little more interest. In this way, you can explain the stakeholder cube as well as. Let's say the fourth one is influential active blocker, insignificant passive blocker. You can categorize them by numbers, and this is position for the stakeholder. Insignificant active backers, and influential passive backers, and influential active backers. So you can categorize them as one we showed here. The third one is mapping, representation, and stakeholder representation or stakeholder mapping is silence model, power, legitimacy, and urgency. Here you can categorize by the power, you can categorize by the legitimacy, and you can categorize by the urgency. Here we have a seven position. First position is alone with its power. Some stakeholders, they have most power on the project, so you will categorize them here. And the second one, legitimacy. The third one is urgency. They have most, not have power, but urgency. Every time they are asking you something that we need urgent, urgent, urgent. So you can categorize them, but this one sales matter. The most important thing is in regarding to the examination of PMP, that is power interest grid. Look it closely and understand it. Other one only for your understanding. Legends are here: dominant, discriminatory, demanding, dominant, and dangerous, dependent, and definite. So you can just categorize them
Mr.
also.
Akbar, can you just again explain this fourth slide about this stakeholder mapping representation? Yeah, above this cube slide. This one, yes.
Yes, yes.
Above stakeholder cube.
Above stakeholder queue.
Yes,
Yes.
this one, power interest grid.
Power interest grid. Yes. Let's say, if you have a stakeholder number of 20, 20 stakeholders you have on the project, and you listed them in the stakeholder register. Now you will group them, five stakeholder in one group, and you have to justify them within the five groups, as four groups, five stakeholder in one group. And now you see that the five stakeholder, they have less power and less interest. Then you will categorize them in this box, and you will just monitor them, only monitor them, because they have low interest and low power. And if the other group of the five stakeholder, they have high power with the low interest, you will just place them here in this box, and you need to satisfy them only. You need to satisfy them. Satisfied mean what? Whenever they will ask you something, you need to provide them. If they are not asking, no issue. If they are asking you, you need to provide them. And the third group is, which is to be informed, and you would categorize here. If they have high interest with low power, you need to write them here, and you need to inform them every time. They have low power but have interest only. You need to inform them every time, which whenever you are reporting to the stakeholder, you need to send them report as well, because they have interest to see the project progress, because they have interest to see the benefit of the project. So that's why you need to inform them every time whenever you are sending some reports, and something you have to show on the project. Another category, which is last category, if you have a five stakeholders, out of the 20 stakeholder, then you need to categorize him in this box, manage closely. Why? Because they have high power and high interest. Regarding the PMP exam, this is most important concept, and while they sometimes they are asking in different power influencer grade, power interest grade, but the same case is same. This is the called SWOT analysis. SWOT, and later on we will explain it later on, no issue. Whenever we will look on the risk management, then we will explain it more detail, the SWOT analysis. But here
So
only we are that. Yes, Jay.
so for this manage closely, we can say them as a high priority stakeholders category.
Definite. You can say it high priority stakeholder because they have more
Deliverables
interest and more
prospective target,
power.
right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
high priority stakeholder. High priority
Clear.
stakeholder. And now, if you have a high power only and low interest, then you can just satisfy them. No need to manage closely. Whenever they are asking, you can give them. If they are not asking, don't say them anything. And this is the opposite of the stake satisfied. If they have high interest and low power, then need to inform only. No need. Whenever they will ask, no, you have to inform them. Every time you have a report, you have to send them. If they have more interest with low power.
Okay.
Next, these are all not important other one, but this one, direction of influence, sometimes there is one or two question. Sometimes there is one question about this direction of influence. That's mean if you are a project manager here, by the side word, you have another project manager within your organization on other projects as well. This is sidewise influence, directional influence, sidewise influence. And outward influence, that's mean out of your organization, some project manager you have. They can influence your project. These are the stakeholder as well. Because these are the competitor of your organization. That's why they are outward, but they are sideward as well. Sideward mean inside your organization and outward that's mean out of your organization, but they have same position because of your opposition, and you have these stakeholders are also competitor of your organization as well. Upward, that's means senior management, that can be a program manager and portfolio manager as well. This is upward influence. They can influence also. So you have to see which one is your upward, which one you have downward as well. Your team, all of your team, functional managers, your team members, and other stakeholders which are working under your side. So these will be counted as a downward. So outward, upward, downward, and sideward you can categorize them. This is also a technique, stakeholder mapping or representation. You can use this one as well. If you need to show the client or show your team as well, you can use this one. This is the prioritization stakeholder register prioritization. You can use the prioritization as well whenever you make the project register stakeholder register. You can make the prioritization as well as we will show here. Dr. Strange is the first stakeholder we show here. He is a sponsor. External, internal, we categorize him as the internal. Sign off, sign off on a major decisions, major requirement. What is his major requirement? Sign off on major decision. He will sign on major decision. Main expectation, moderate involvement in the project. That's mean he is moderate involvement on the project. Yes, Sachin.
Yes, on above slide, the upward is
Yes,
also influence like inside the organization, outside the organization, both. Huh?
definite. Both side, but they all called upward.
Upward, but downward
Outward,
only
upward.
inside.
Yes, upward,
Upward
outward.
only.
You can say upward, outward, but this one can be from another government officials as well. That's why we can say only upward.
This is not a outside project program
Outside,
manager or portfolio
also
manager.
outside, because your territory is in this box for your organization. This is outside of your project.
Outside of project, but who's this? Only government
Upward.
officials or outside
No, no.
other
Outside.
program managers and
Upward
people?
outside. Upward outside. Up of the project manager. Only up of the project manager. Okay.
Okay.
This is one of the example of stakeholder register, and you can see here we will explain some stakeholder responsibilities and how we can get the interest level and power level, influence level. Let's say first of stakeholder we have here Dr. Strange. He is a sponsor. He is an internal stakeholder, and his major requirement is sign off on major decisions. Main expectation is moderate involvement in the project. His interest is a 10 by 10 and influence 10 by 10, and power he has a 10 by 10. So his importance is the most important stakeholder on the project because he is a sponsor. Bucky Baines. So that one is a project manager. It can be any names, no problem at all. So project manager, he is a project manager, and this is also internal to the organization. And his requirement are project to be delivered on time within the budget. This is his requirement and responsibilities, and main expectation high involvement to the project. Yeah, definitely the project manager he should have a high involvement to the project manager. His interest is 10 by 10 and influence 9 by 10. His power is 9 by 10 because most power on the project is has sponsor only. Project manager influence is low little bit and power also low. This is also important stakeholder. Next one is sale manager. Is also internal stakeholder. Annual controlling of a sales figures is responsibilities and requirements are just to see the online control of the sales figure. And main expectation user friendly interface, talented sale team. That's been his main expectation, and his interest at 10 by 10 because he has a commission based system of as an employee of organization, and influence is 8 by 10 and power as 7 over 10. This is also an important stakeholder. Maria Hell, that is IT manager, internal stakeholder, installation and testing software, renovate IT equipment. His main expectation is renovated IT equipment. His interest rate 8 by 10 and influence is 5 by 10 and power has 5 by 10. Moderate importantly. That's mean is moderate importance to the project. This was the sample of the stakeholder register and how we can write the stakeholder, and you can list all the stakeholder, maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 500. You have to write all the stakeholder and their responsibilities, and if they are internal or external you have to write them, major requirement, main expectation, their interest and influence and power. You can categorize them, then you can use this stakeholder throughout the project. This method might be helpful if there is a large number of stakeholders. Thus, you can prioritize them as so. Because the prioritization, you can tell them that important, 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 moderate, important, not important, you can say. And you can also update throughout the project. If you have not information, any information related to the stakeholder, you will not write here. You will just keep it blank, only list of the stakeholder. Later on, you can define the responsibilities and you can tell the major requirement, and you can also get the number of interest, influence, and power. Later on, you can update it. But here, if you have only list, you have to write the list of the stakeholder here in the stakeholder register. After that, you can make a meeting and develop the stakeholder register as well. This is also a technique. You can use them. This is very easy technique. Now, stakeholder register, as we discussed before, this is the template of stakeholder. This is the second template. One of them is we can understand by this stakeholder register. The second stakeholder register template is this one: name, roles, contact information, requirements, expectation, and classification. You can categorize like them also. It's depend on your organization how they want to make a stakeholder register. If they have a special template, you have to use that one. If they don't have any and they are going to start a new project, you can give them a one of them. And you can use this one. Another way you can use whatever you need to make it and use them for your project as per your requirement of the project. Same stakeholder register is showing here also. This is the output of this process. Then throughout the project, you can make a change request and update it. Due newly identified stakeholders throughout the project, there will be a change request. Should be a change request, you have to make a change request, then you can include in the project stakeholder register. Otherwise, you cannot include any stakeholder in the register. You have to make one change request, then you can change them. Let's say you need to change the project manager interest or project manager influence. Right now his influence is more than before. Then you will change this figure 9 to 10, but you need to make changes. You need to make change request, then you can update it. Before that you cannot change it. Another requirement that can be uh, that can be updated here, that will be updated project management plan updates. That's my requirement management plan, risk management plan, communication management plan. Whenever you will make change on the project stakeholder register, then you need to also update other documents as well, which you have prepared already. If you don't have any plan right now, you don't need to change anything in this plan. Later on, whenever you will make the plans, then you will change them and then you will update. Before updating any plan, you need to make a change request. This is very important concept. Newly defined stakeholder will cause the new requirement to be identified, new risk to be developed. We will need to define how manage the communication related to the newly defined stakeholder. Let's say if you are going to initiate the project, right now you are in initiating. Later on, you will be in planning, and after that you will be in execution. So on execution stage, you realize that there is one new stakeholder that is involved in our project. So you need to write him in your project stakeholder register. What you will do? First of all, you will make change request. Then this is the stakeholder. We need to add him in our stakeholder register. If they will approve, this is the really we have this stakeholder on our project. Then they will give you approval. Then you need to evaluate him and interview him. How much interest he has on the project and how much authority, how much power he has on the project. Then you will update the stakeholder register and inform other stakeholder and your team as well. This is your new stakeholder. Take care of him every time whenever you have report as per your stakeholder mapping and representation. You will categorize him. Newly stakeholder, you will categorize him. This need to be informed, need to be monitor, and need to be satisfied or managed closely. Which category you are using this stakeholder, newly identified stakeholder. This is depend on you how you will analyze him, and this is depend on that stakeholder as well. How much he has interest on the project, how much he has a power on that project. So this is depend on that situation and that type of the stakeholder. Same way, you need to update some whenever you have a update on the plans, as well as you have to update the documents as well. Assumption log, which we have created in the project charters section, issue log that will be created later on, but you have to update it. Risk register. This will be also in risk management category. We will make this register. Yes, Sachin.
Okay. How we identify the power of a new added stakeholder? Like interview say, but how?
Whenever you will identify one new stakeholder,
Okay.
when you will interview him personally and when you will get the confidential information, he will disclose how much power I have on the project. Right? I'll give you one answer. there was no program management in your organization, and now you have only one project manager. Later on, the organization decided to make a program management office, and they hired a one program manager. Definitely, he has a more authority than project manager. You can say that he has a more authority than project manager. Then you can definitely he has a more power, more authority, more power, more than a project manager, more than not more than sponsor, but more than project manager. Let's say there is a change in project sponsor. There is a change in project sponsor later on in on execution stage. Before you have another sponsor, right now you have another sponsor. Sponsor has the maximum power, so you don't need to evaluate. There is no machine. You have to identify by your ways, interview, questionnaires, and answer by another stakeholders, by another stakeholder. What I'm telling you, by another stakeholders as well. Let's say you are a project manager. You will ask your sponsor. This is new stakeholder. How much he has influence? How much he has power on our project? Is this stakeholder the most power guy or most power person, or this is lower than you or lower than me? You can ask another question, another stakeholder as well, and evaluate by yourself as well. There is no technical machine to identify. You have to argue, you have to visit him, you have to ask him. This is the way, and check his position as well. What is his responsibility on the project? If he has a responsibility more than a project manager, definitely he has a more interest and more power, more influence. If he has a less than project manager, that's mean he is a team member, sales manager. He has a less interest than project manager. He has a less power than project manager because he is a sales manager only, as we discussed here in our stakeholder register. Sales manager, what he has? Interest, okay, but influence 8, for power 7. He has a less power. That's why, because he is less than project manager, according to your position, responsibilities, and main expectation, what he need actually, then you can identify his power, influence, and interest. But without these information, power, responsibilities, major requirement, main expectation, without these questions, you cannot identify. Before you, if you are going to check his power, you have to ask the question: what is his position? Is this is the internal or external? What are the main requirements of the stakeholder? And what are the main expectation of the stakeholder? Whenever you will see the expectation, you will definitely identify the power is power, influence, and interest as well. Okay, Sajal?
Okay.
Okay. So, is there any question related to this process? Then we will go further.
Another thing, this is for internal, but for external, like not in the organization person, also affected the project execution and whatever.
Definite,
So what is that
they
like?
can affect. They can affect. Let's say, if it as per your last question, as we were looking at this upward, if we have some government officials outside of that is outside of the organization, but they have most power. They
Less
cannot
power,
issue,
less interest.
yeah, but less interest in your project. Yes, definitely.
Less interest, but have only
Less,
power. So what?
they have power. They can stop your project. Why? Because you need to get the authority paper from them, because they have a municipal department. Maybe they are from the municipal department. They can
Yeah.
issue the paper to your organization. They, if they are interested, they, if they don't want to issue, maybe they will not agree to issue your organization. That's the problem. From the outside of your organization, it can be a powerful stakeholder as well.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we have process, which is a planning section. This will be a first planning process right today. That's called project management plan. This is very important concept. You have to take care about this process, but don't memorize, just focus what I'm telling you only. Whenever you listen the lecture, which I will give you the link, do not go for whatever I'm telling you beyond this. No need. You no need don't need to memorize this one, inputs and output, tools and technique. No need. Just just go through it and get the idea only. Get the idea. Develop PMP, that's mean develop project management plan. This is integration management, which we have discussed before as well. But now we'll see the process. What is this? What we will do in this one? After the stakeholder identification, what we will do next? We will do next to make project management plan. All the plans we will discuss one by one, but here we'll explain and we will open one register to make the project management plan. And then every plan, whenever we will make, let's say after that, when we will open this register or open this file for project management plan, then after that, after the opening, we will close it, and later on we will go whenever we will finish the scope management plan. We'll come back to the project management plan and update it. Later on, then we will go to after scope schedule management. We will complete our schedule management plan. Then we will come back to our project management plan and update it. That's mean it's a consolidating, it's a coordinating way to make a project management plan and update every time while you are planning your project. Here you can see it. Keep all aspect of the project integrated, coordinated way in a line with project success criteria. Make decision, enable the team to execute the project. Here, this is our integration by a project manager. That's mean you are going to make a project management plan in integration way. Let's say if you are going to make a cost management plan, risk management plan, quality management plan, procurement management plan, resource management plan, stakeholder management plan, scope, every plan which is written here. After you are making all the plans, then you will update a project management plan in integration management plan, because this process is from integration management, and this is also from planning section, planning process group and integration management. Both they are together. If you can see here, this is the planning in a top section, and here integration management from the left side. As per our previous process, which was from initiating, and the first process was charter. You can say also like this. Yes, Sachin, if you have any question, because your hand I can see now.
No, that's the previous one.
Okay, that one. Okay, now among the other activity, PM make decision in order to identify, evaluate, and allocate the resources. Balance here, which we were giving me the answer for that question, which we discussed earlier today. Yes, Jay.
Yes.
Okay, so as per our discussion in this lecture earlier today, we're discussing one question, if you remember, and you were answering me B, answer B, which was written that allocate resources. That's mean you will identify the resources as well. But I was arguing with you that's this is the not answer. This is the not right answer, because in in project management plans we will allocate the resource, and Then you can use the resources in that plans after execution. Here you will plan them, then in execution phase you will use them. So balance competing demands of the constraint, examine alternate approach to carry out the project work, tailor process to the team project objectives, manage interdependencies among the knowledge areas. Knowledge areas don't remember and no need. Just manage interdependencies among the
Can you
other
please
area of. Yes, Sachin?
can you please
Yes. Oh, sure.
slides are
Sorry, sorry,
visible actually.
Slide is
sorry.
not the yes. Able to see.
Can you see now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. Sorry for that. Actually, what I was discussing that among another activity, the PM makes decision in order to identify, evaluate, and allocate resources. Before what we were discussing on our question, remember it. Now here, identify, evaluate, and allocate resources. This is the planning section, not in the project charter section. Here in the planning section, you will identify, evaluate, and allocate resources. After allocation in execution phase, the team will, these resources will perform the activities. Balance competing demand of the constraint, definite. You have to make balance between the constraints and examine alternative approach to carry out the project work. You have to examine it, alternative approach to carry out the project work. This is also tailor process to meet the project objective. As we discussed in our last lecture, you have to tailor every aspect of the project, every aspect of the project. Then you will meet the project objectives. Otherwise, you will go back and again and go forward, go back. That will be your activities as well. If you tailor the process, what activities, what tools and techniques, what methods you need to make it that objectives and to complete that objective to make that activity possible, you have to tailor first of all. Manage interdependencies among the knowledge areas. Definitely, you have to manage the interdependencies. Which activity you have to make first, and then second, then third. This is the dependency, interdependence. Manage it. Emerging practices in the integration management. No need to discuss because you will see in the slides. Tailoring process, which we have discussed. Project life cycle, develop development life cycle, management approach, knowledge management, change, governance, lesson learned, and benefits. First of all, if you are going to discuss about the tailoring process, project life cycle, you have to see which life cycle, how many phases you have, type of the life cycle, which life cycle. This is the small life cycle. One time you will use it, or the complex life cycle, which we have multiple phases and overlapping, sequential. These all you will identify it because you are going to make, you are going to tailor your project. The second thing, development approach, which approach you will use on your project. In first phase, which one, and second phase, which one. Let's say approaches, we have predictive, adaptive, hybrid, and incremental, iterative. We have discussed all of them earlier in our earlier lectures. Predictive. Yes, Jay, do you have an idea about that predictive? What is that one?
It's agile methodology.
Predict, predictive, agile methodology.
Yeah.
And what about the adaptive?
Adaptive, that also there.
Predictive is a waterfall, adaptive is a agile, and hybrid is the common one. Combined.
Hybrid
Yes.
is combination of waterfall and agile.
Yes. Now you are good. And what about the predictive right now, Jay?
Yeah, that's waterfall. Waterfall.
Okay. So you have to tailor this one also. Which development approach you will use on your project? If that is feasible that you can use adaptive approach, use it. If that is not feasible, then you will use agile. If that is feasible that you can use hybrid, both of them you can use it then. So you have to tailor. Process based on culture and complexity management approach. Definitely, you have to see process based and on culture and complexity. That will be called also management approach. You have to tailor it. Which processes you will use them depend on your culture and complexity of the project. Process to the foster collaboration, knowledge management. Definitely, you have to see your knowledge for your future projects by collaboration, by your team, by your team collaboration. You have to look of your knowledge management, and then throughout your project you will keep your knowledge and keep your knowledge in OPAs and in lesson learn. Then you can use them in future projects as well. So that's called a knowledge management. Process to restrict and manage changes. Definitely, you have to see which methodology depending on the development approach, development life cycle, or development approach. Then you will see if there is a predictive or waterfall. Then you have to restrict the process. You have to restrict the changes and go to change control board, then come back to update it or execute the change if they will accept it. If they not accept, then you have to reject them and not proceed for that change. If you have adaptive life cycle, then you can manage the changes only because you have an adaptive or agile methodology. You cannot reject them because you are agree at the first point with the client that you will manage the change, you will accept the change because it's a change driven methodology. Agile is a change driven methodology. So you will accept all the changes on the project because you are agree on first position and first point of the project. Governance, board structure, stakeholder involved, reporting requirements, these things we will board structure, which one board structure you have, stakeholder involvement, how many stakeholders they are involved, and how they are involved in that project. Reporting requirement, their stakeholder reporting requirements. This is the card for governance. Collection and steering information, dissemination of information, lesson learned. This is also a knowledge management basically, because you will get the lesson learned from your last project, a last activity, and last phase, and then you will keep them for your OPAs and knowledge management for your future project. Identifying benefits, reporting benefits. Also, you have to tailor when you will identify the benefits and who you need to send the report for benefits. Who is the owner? You have to send the reports, and then you will realize also when you will send the report to the benefit owner. In agile or adaptive consideration, project manager what he will do? Project manager delegates some of the task on the project. Let's say a team member, he is handling the cost. He will just estimate the cost, but remaining activity, project manager he will do. Stakeholder, different stakeholder can be on the project, just like stakeholder two, that is integrated by team member two. Resource, he can handle it. That's mean project manager is delegating this activity to that resource. The third resource, which is assigned by the project manager, that is integrated by team member three, that is scope. The one person or one team is uh, controlling the scope and quality. This is assigned by the project manager, but that's mean he is delegating to the that person. He is handling the scope and also quality. What is written is when you can see this one, collaborative approach to decision making by the entire team, because here in agile considerations, project manager will be a servant leader, will be a servant leader. Project manager in agile methodology will be a servant leader. He is not a boss like, no, he will be a servant leader because he need to get all the work done by his team, not from his side only. He has to coordinate with his team and get all the activity respective team member from respective team members. Let's say he is delegating one activity, cost activity, resource activity to another resource, and this team member three, he is controlling scope and quality. And after that, project manager has some authority to control the communication, procurement, and other stakeholder, and also risk. So here is it written also. Some PM tasks delegate to the team. Higher level of cross team tracking, budget, schedule may still be done by the project manager. Cross tracking, cross team tracking. If someone is controlling cost or estimating the cost on the project, but after that, ultimate responsibility, project manager has an ultimate responsibility to check the cross-functional uh, activities on the project. Let's say schedule, resource, and quality, scope. He has to check. Ultimately, he is the responsible. He has the responsibility to execute and monitor and control that project. This is the same information, but we have discussed already in integration management. Basis of all project describe how the work will be performed. This will be integration and project management plan as well. Baseline to act as a reference. All baseline. We have a three type of baseline here in the PMP, in the project, on the project, all the project, not only in PMP, not only in one project, not only on Agile, not only on waterfall, but we have on the all projects we have three type of baseline. First baseline is scope baseline, the second baseline is schedule baseline, and the third baseline is cost baseline. So we will discuss later on one by one, no issue at all. In the scope baseline we will discuss. In scope management plan we will describe everything in that in scope, and cost baseline, schedule baseline, respectively. Continuously developed, refined, and revised throughout the project life cycle as more as information is known. Continuous developed. That's mean when we will start the project management plan register, or when we will start the project management plan, then we will continuously develop all the plans and then refine them, then revisited them throughout the project life cycle. If we have any changes, then we will update the plan as well. Project management plan, we will update it. That's mean there is one term we need to understand it, that is called progressive elaboration. Progressive elaboration, what is it? That is the iterative process to increasing the level of details in the project management plan as greater amount of information and more accurate estimate become available. In simple ways, you can say in near-term activities, in near-term in near-term phases, in near-term, let's say 2 or 3 weeks activities, you can plan them in details. In long term, in a longer ways activity, which you will start after 1 month, 4 weeks, like 6 weeks, you will not explain them in detail. You will not plan them in detail. You will just get the highlights. You will just explain the high level of plan for those activities which are far away. You will explain which you have right now in front of you within few weeks only. Let's say 2 to 3 weeks only. You will plan them in detail. But later on, later activities, later work packages, you will explain them in later one. When you will finish that first phase, then you will go to second phase, then plan it, then execute it. Don't do it right now. This is method that which is called progressive elaboration. Progressive elaboration. Baseline plans may only be updated through the integrated change control process. That's what we discussed in the waterfall. Baseline, if you are going to change the baseline, even though in Agile, you have a baseline for one sprint. If you are going to start first sprint, then you will explain the first sprint only, and you have baseline for this first sprint. When you will finalize the baseline for the first sprint, you cannot change it until you will get the approval from the change control board. But next sprint you can change it, no issue. I'm explaining you only first sprint. Agile accept the changes. At any case, they are accepting the changes. But whenever you plan this first sprint, you have all the evidence that client what they needed. If you are going to start the first sprint, only first sprint cannot be changed until that is closed. and whenever you have closed, the client can make a requirement that we need to upgrade it, we need more features. This is dependent on your organization if they want to make and that project or they want to initiate a separate project because they have new requirements right now. After you are closing a first sprint, they can make changes in the second sprint, no issue. You have a second variant as well. But in first sprint, they are asking a new requirements. Maybe it will take more than what you have consumed your time right now. You have to see if this is a long activities, then you can ask your client or sponsor. We need to initiate a new project to update these features. No issue. They can tell you and they can decide whatever they need. That's why baseline. Whenever you finalize your baseline, all the baseline plans, then the only way you can change them by the change control board as well. Okay, project charter we need it for the project management plan. And this is the most important slide in this lecture today, which have more almost all plans for PMP and all plans and documents for the project. Here we will see this is the project management plan, scope management plan, requirement management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, and resource management plan, communication management plan, risk management plan, all procurement, stakeholder, change management plan, configuration management plan, scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline, as well as performance measurement baseline, project life cycle description, and development approach. These are all plans. Some of them we already discussed as development approach, project life cycle, and later we'll explain all of them. No issue. One by one we will explain. Some of them we already explained already. Configuration management plan, we can see this one in this lecture today, and scope baseline later on we will see. Other all we need to make the plan for our project. Some of the major documents we will use in our project respectively, not all, because we have to tailor every project. You have to tailor that which documents you need to require, and some of them maybe you have a small project and maybe you don't need these all plans. You have a small project, you have to tailor which plans do you need. If you need not 18, maybe 10 plans enough for your project. You have to tailor first of all. And similar case here for the documents as well. You don't need to make 33 documents. No need. You can complete your project within 20 documents. You can complete your project within 10 documents. It's depend on the complexity of the project. So only for your understanding, activity attributes, activity list, all of the documents we will discuss respectively. Whenever you have a new topic, we will discuss one thing, two things. Let's say risk, the stakeholder register. We already discussed what is that. This is also a document on the project. Stakeholder register, assumption log, we discussed in the project charter. So two of them we already discussed. Maybe later on we'll discuss all these documents one by one in our topics in our next lectures. But right now we have two documents which are completed: stakeholder register and assumption log. From this side, from the plan side, we discussed already of development approach, project life cycle description. These all we discussed. Later on, later plans, all the plans we will discuss. For project management plan, as we discussed, we have a easiest way for us to hire someone or someone individual or a group to make the project management plan. That's mean all the plan, these all plan they will make, he or they will make. Someone someone is individual or a one group, they can make that plan and give it to you. This is the easiest way for your organization. They can hire a consultant and you complete your activity, complete your plans. If you are going to make your side and yourself that plan, PMP, that project management plan, then what you need actually with your team, you are going to make a project management plan. You decided that we will not hire a consultant. You will not hire an individual. You decided that we will make the project management plan by your team. What you will do, you need some tools and technique and methods to complete the project management plan. What you will do, first of all, you will gather the data. From the data gathering techniques, what you will use: brainstorming, checklist, interviews, and focus group. These are the four methods out of some another methods like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of 8 methods, you are using only 4 methods. This is also depend on your complexity of the project. Maybe you will use only brainstorming to complete your project management plan. Maybe you don't need all of them. Checklist, you don't need it. Maybe you don't need interviews. Maybe you don't need focus group. We will discuss here all of them, but maybe you don't need them all. It's depend on your project. That's why tailoring is most important. Tailoring is most important, and agile consideration as well. If you're using agile methodology, you have to consider which is effective methods and how you will use them. So first of all, brainstorming, as we discussed earlier, this is new generation because you are going to make a new document. You have to make the new ideas as well from your team side, and they will give you the opinions how you will make the project management plan and which plan you are going to make. Interviews, confidential information. If you have any relevant information from the respective or individual stakeholder, then you will take him for the confidential information, and you will ask him some question about the project management plan so that you can complete it. So this is also a technique and method you can use them. Focus group. What is the focus group? This is new for you, I think. We did not discuss earlier before, I think. Bring together pre-qualified stakeholder and subject matter expert to learn about their expectation. What you will do, you will see in the market and you will see in your organization as well who are the stakeholders which are expert in that case, in that particular subject. Let's say you are going to make a scope baseline and you are going to finalize a scope baseline, which is the part of that plan also, which is the part of that plan. Let's say scope baseline. Scope baseline is a part of project management plan as well. Or you can say quality management plan. Quality management plan. You are going to make a quality management plan. What you will do in focus group? What you will do? Invite the relevant stakeholders who are expert in this quality management, who are expert in QA section, who are expert in the QC section. You will ask them to attend the meeting and attend that session to invite them and get from them most of the relevant ideas. These subject matter expert will give you the opinions how you can complete that plan. So every plan have a subject matter expert. Scope management plan, quality management plan, schedule management plan. When you will finalize your schedule management plan, definitely you have to hire or invite the stakeholder who is expert in schedule management. Then he can give you insights, and this is the person, this is the stakeholder who is subject matter expert in that field. So you will invite respective stakeholder to finalize that plan. This is also called a focus group, or this is also a method you can use to produce a project management plan. All plans, what we discussed earlier. Same here in this slide: brainstorming, focus group, interviews, and checklist. Checklist, what you will do if you have a large number of members in your meeting. What you will do, you will produce some questions, and just to save the time, just to get the relevant information and to the point information, you will make us one checklist. First question you will repeat in front of your audience, and then you will ask, what is your answer? One by one, they will answer you, and you will tick them. This is this, this is this, this is this. So this called a checklist, and also this checklist you can use in quality management as well. This is similar checklist what you are using in quality management. Interpersonal and team skills. This is also important for the project management plan as well. When you will make the project management plans, all of the plans, definitely you need your interpersonal and team skill as well. As a project manager, you should have these skills with in your body or in your personality. Conflict management, facilitation, and meeting. Out of many skills, let's say culture awareness, decision making. Here we are using only three because these are the relevant interpersonal and team skills which we can use to produce project management plan. This is also very important point that maybe you need only one conflict management technique or conflict management skill to complete the project management plan. Maybe you need two, maybe you need all of three. So depend on the project complexity. It's depend on the project complexity. Same which we had discussed earlier lecture, conflict management. Uh, do you remember this Jay and Sachin? Do you remember this one? This conflict management. Did we learn about it?
Yes.
Jay, do
Yes,
you
yes.
remember this?
One question also we answered.
Okay, that's when you completed it. Then you review it, huh?
No, not reviewed this.
And I raised means what will be the tactical issues and all.
Okay. I will. But repeat it whenever you have time tomorrow. Repeat it. Saturday, I'll give you some also question relevant to this one. But
Yeah.
repeat it. I will not repeat here again because it's a long topic, and you will get in the lecture as well. Facilitation. What is the next interpersonal team skills what we can use here in the project management plan? Bring the key stakeholder together to define the project requirement, can be used to quickly define cross-functional requirement and reconcile stakeholder differences. So whenever you are going to make a facilitation, you will not assist a meeting then. No need, because you are a facilitator only. You can just facilitate the stakeholder. They will produce some output of the meeting. The meeting should be productive. This is your responsibility to give them something what they need to produce the meeting output, to produce the output of the meeting. But you cannot argue with them. You cannot involve yourself in that meeting. You are a facilitator only. This is the difference between meeting management and facilitation. This is the difference between meeting management and facilitation. Meeting management, that's mean you are the person who has managed the meeting. And facilitation, that's mean you are only giving them facilities. What they need. They need projector. They need one, two, three, four requirements. Okay, complete them to start their meeting and get product. This is your priority to get the productive meeting. If they are not, if they don't have any productive meeting, that's mean maybe you have a problem with your facilitation. So take care of if you are a facilitator only. When facilitated section, well facilitated section can be build trust, foster relationship, and improve communication among the participants. So take care of them. If you are a facilitator, only use these things to provide the product, provide the equipment, provide the facilitation, whatever the stakeholder need, just provide them. Meeting management is different, but I told you if you are if you are only a meeting management going to make a meeting, you have to see that prepare a distribute agenda, start stating the project objectives and meeting of the meeting, ensure that the meeting start and finish at published time, ensure the appropriate participants are invited and attend, stay on topic, manage expectation issues and conflict during the meeting. So this is the things which you will take care about them during your meeting management. And the last thing, same as we discussed earlier, also meetings need to be have objective. There should be an agenda, and the agenda should be sent to the related stakeholder. We should only invite the relevant stakeholder. This is meeting management. Now you are responsible for the meeting. Only facilitation, okay, you can just facilitate them, and you are as a project manager, you are a facilitator only, facilitate them. They are the one who are responsible to produce some output from the meeting. You are not responsible. Whenever you are going to arrange a meeting, then meeting management should be in your side right now. You have to take care meeting management, agenda and everything, whatever you need. Meeting should be start on time. If the stakeholder do not know each other, they should be introduced by everyone. Okay, someone should take notes. This is your responsibility right now. See here, interpersonal team skills, what we discussed in one slide, you can see in nutshell, conflict management, facilitation, and meeting management. Here is the ones in one slide. Meetings, definitely when you are going to produce a project management plan, then you need several meetings during that process. So meeting management should be inside the meeting also. Meetings, same. Now, there is one major concept now, agile concept, which we were discussing earlier. Here is the explanation for that agile. This is a major concept. Just be careful about this process. If you understand this one, that means you understand the agile process.
Mr. Akbar, can we continue with this in next lecture, Agile
No
process?
problem. No problem. This is very important concept.
Yeah,
If
that's
I
why I asked to continue in next lecture.
no problem.
And
No problem. No problem.
yeah,
Now, if you have any question related to our discussion right now here, we will start again. No problem.
no questions.
Okay. I will share you the slide as well as lecture, and I will share tomorrow some question related to this topic. Take care. Repeat it and repeat the slides. Then you will get the answer right.
Yes, sure. Now we
Sure,
meet
sure.
on
Okay.
the Saturday.
Yes, Saturday.
Saturday,
Hopefully. Saturday.
Saturday or Sunday?
Yes. No, Sunday we have
Saturday or Sunday?
another. No. Sunday we have another group. So Saturday.
Okay, Saturday.
Saturday.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Done. Okay.
Okay. See you
Good night.
and
Take care.
have a nice weekend as well.
Yeah, same to you. Same to
Same
you
to you.
all. Have a nice weekend.
Yes. And as well as Atif. Atif is, I think he's on the way. I think he's listening us only. I think he's not involved very much, but he's listening us today because he is on the way. He told me about that.
He's traveling
Anyway,
or what?
yeah, he is traveling to somewhere. But anyway, he informed me he is listening us only.
Okay, fine.
He will involved in our next lecture as well.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay, see you guys.
Okay.
Good night all.
Okay, good night. Good night. See you.